Today we're going to work on your checking for understanding for the passages Patriot, Paul Revere, and Dear Thomas. And then we're also going to do the compare and contrast page. So what skill helped Paul Revere deliver messages for the Sons of Liberty? So A, Paul Revere was a great horseback rider. B, Paul Revere was a great duck driver. C, Paul Revere was talented silversmith. And D, Paul Revere was a wonderful letter writer. So there was only one of these that we read about in the story, and it was about his ability to horseback ride. So he was a great horseback rider. Come over here to number 4. In Dear Thomas, Alice wrote, Papa believes this is the beginning of a war. Using information from both passages, what war is Alice most likely writing about? A, World War I, B, World War II, C, the Boston War, D, the American Revolution. Well, if we go back into the story, we can easily see, at the very top that the date on it says April 21st, 1775. And it says to use information from both passages. I notice on the first passage on Patriot Paul Revere that it tells us all of the things that we've been reading about the American Revolution and the British Army. So it says the Battle of Lexington took place and the Revolutionary War began. So the American Revolution is our answer for this. Okay, so now we're going to come down here. Look at number 2. According to Alice's letter to her brother Thomas, who was another messenger who also helped warn colonists the British were coming to attack and take their weapons. So we have A, Charles Revere, B, Thomas Smith, C, William Dawes, or D, Abraham Lincoln. So when I go back, I have to go back into the story. It says Paul Revere and William Dawes are members. So William Dawes is C, and that's my answer for number 2. Number 5 says, which statement below is information that is included in both passages? Okay, this is a very important question because we're going to use this in our compare and contrast. So, A, 2 lanterns in the Old North Church meant the British soldiers were coming by the Charles River. B, Paul Revere was born in Boston, Massachusetts in December of 1734. C, a patriot is a person who is known for loving their country and working to protect it and the people who live there. D, Paul Revere lived to be 83 years old. Okay, so the only one that's in both is this one about the 2 lanterns. Okay, let's come over here to number 3. What event happened before Paul Revere went on his ride to warn the colonists the British were coming to take their weapons? A, the American Revolution began. B, America won the American Revolution. C, Great Britain forced unfair taxes and laws on the colonists. D, Alice wrote a letter to her brother telling him about Paul Revere's warning. Okay, so the only one of these that makes sense is right here because we know that this was before the American Revolution and Alice's letter was after, okay, after Paul Revere's ride because she couldn't tell him about it until afterwards. Okay. Number 6. Which of the following choices best describes the main idea of Dear Thomas? A, Alice wrote Paul Revere a letter thanking him for warning her family and keeping them safe. B, Alice wrote her brother Thomas a letter explaining how Paul Revere warned their family and other colonists that the British were coming. C, Alice wrote her brother Thomas a letter to let him know she missed him. D, Alice wrote a letter to her brother to tell him the American Revolution had begun because he was a soldier. Okay, this is what the letter is mostly about. Remember, when we're looking at the main idea, we're looking at what something is mostly about. We're going to come over here to number 8. Using information from both passages, which of the following character trait best describes Paul Revere? A, courageous, B, nervous, C, selfish, D, nosy. So when I think of character traits, I'm going to have to take those details from the story that I was reading. So one of the things that I read about Paul Revere is that he was in the Sons of Liberty, and I think he would have had to be brave to be in the Sons of Liberty because they were going against the British government. So another word for brave is courageous. Okay, we're going to come over here to number 9. Number 9 says, according to the information in Patriot Paul Revere, why did the colonists most likely want representation in the British government? A, the colonists wanted someone to speak for them about their unfair taxes and laws the British government was placing on colonists. B, the colonists did not want to take part in helping to decide what happened in the British government. C, the colonists wanted Paul Revere to become the president. D, the colonists were there for the British government to enforce taxes on them. Okay, so when I'm looking at this question, I'm going back and I'm looking at the word representation. It says they fought against high taxes from Britain because they had no representation in the government. Okay, so the only one of these that talks really about unfair taxes. See, down here, they believed it was fair. So up here, it says unfair. So the best answer choice is A. Okay, let's do number 7 together, and then you're going to do 8 and 10 by yourselves. I'll read them to you. So number 7 says, which of the following choices is not information that can be found in both passages? Okay, so A, Paul Revere rode on a horse to warn colonists. B, the British Army was coming to take or destroy the weapons that belonged to the colonists. C, Paul Revere knew the army would be coming by the Charles River because he saw 2 lanterns hanging from the steeple in the Old North Church. D, Paul Revere served in the American Army during the Revolutionary War. Okay, so when I look at this, this happens after she could have written the letter. So that is my best choice for number 7. Oh, I guess you already did number 8. So you're answering number 10 all by yourself. So it says, according to the text, what organization was Paul Revere a part of? A, the National Silversmiths. B, the Boston Horseback Riders. C, the Sons of Liberty. Or D, the British government. You are going to do fantastic answering that. So now we're going to come down to our compare and contrast. Use the information in the 2 passages, Patriot Paul Revere and Dear Thomas, to complete the Venn diagram and short response. So this side, I'm going to do Patriot Paul Revere. And on this side, I'm going to do Dear Thomas. Now, here in the middle is how they are alike. So I'm coming back up here. Which statement below is information included in both passages? Okay. The 2 lanterns in the Old North Church. Okay. So we're going to go back to our compare and contrast, and we are going to put that right there in the middle. 2 lanterns in the Old North Church meant the British soldiers were coming by the Charles River. Okay, so now we need something that is different about the 2. And if you remember up here, what is information that is not found in both passages? Right here, Paul Revere served in the American Army during the Revolutionary War. Okay, so that one is only in Patriot Paul Revere. So the Army in the American Revolutionary War. Okay. And over here for Dear Thomas, I'm going back in my article and I'm going to try to find something that is not in Patriot Paul Revere. One of the things that it says, if it says, Alice writes that Mama, Papa, and I are safe. Okay, so that is not in Patriot Paul Revere. So now we're going to come down, we're going to take, we are going to take what we wrote up here and we're going to fit it down here. So compare and contrast the two passages. Include details from both passages to explain how they are alike and how they are different. So two passages are alike because they both tell us about the two lanterns in the Old North Church meant the British soldiers are coming by the Charles River. Okay, so now I've got to tell my text evidence. So in Patriot Paul Revere, it states, so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to find that sentence that tells me that. If one lantern was placed in the steeple by the Old North Church, British troops were coming by land. Two lanterns meant they were coming by sea. So I'm going to do the two lanterns. Two lanterns meant they were coming by sea. Okay, in Dear Thomas, it says, let's find it in Dear Thomas. Okay, let's see. They knew the army was coming by the Charles River after Paul saw two lanterns hanging in the Old North Church tower. So, they knew the army was coming by the Charles River after Paul saw two lanterns hanging in the Old North Church tower. Okay, so the two passages are different because one is an informational passage and one is a letter. Okay, so again, I still have to give details. Okay, so Dear Thomas is a letter because it has personal details. Okay, so it says, I am writing to tell you, I am writing to tell you Mama, Papa, and I are safe thanks to Paul Revere. Okay, so I have to go to Patriot Paul Revere. Paul Revere is informational, has no personal details and just gives information. It states, now here's our quote. So, Paul Revere served in the American Army during this war. And we're done. I know that's a lot, but you are completely done with that. So